Welcome back. In this review lecture, we're going to walk through all of the major concepts in IB Biology Topic B1.1. This topic focuses on the chemistry that makes life possible, from the structure of carbon-based molecules to the formation of macromolecules and how those molecules ultimately create the biological diversity we see in organisms. Think of this as a full comprehensive review to help you prepare for your IB biology exam. Let's begin with carbon, the central element of life on Earth. Carbon is uniquely suited to serve as the backbone of biological molecules, and the key reason is its ability to form 4 covalent bonds. Covalent bonds occur when atoms share electrons, and this type of bond is strong and stable. Because carbon can form 4 of these bonds, it can create an enormous variety of molecular shapes. Carbon can form single bonds, double bonds, and even triple bonds. It can bond with many different non-metal atoms, such as hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur. And importantly, it can bond with other carbon atoms. This allows carbon to form long chains, short chains, branched chains, single-ring structures like those you see in glucose, and even multiple fused rings like the ones found in steroid hormones. The three-dimensional geometry of carbon atoms also contributes to molecular diversity. When carbon forms 4 single bonds, the molecule adopts a tetrahedral shape. This geometry helps create the complexity necessary for building molecules like amino acids, fatty acids, nucleotides, and many more. Because carbon is so versatile, it is the perfect chemical foundation for building life. Now, let's explore how organisms actually build the macromolecules that they depend on. Many large biological molecules like polysaccharides, polypeptides, and nucleic acids are formed through condensation reactions. In a condensation reaction, 2 monomers are chemically linked together while releasing a molecule of water. This is how amino acids join to form polypeptides, how nucleotides link to form nucleic acids, and how glucose monomers link to form polysaccharides. An important detail is that these reactions occur with the help of enzymes, which lower the activation energy and allow cells to build complex molecules efficiently. Condensation reactions are anabolic. They build larger molecules from smaller ones, and they are essential for growth, repair, and the synthesis of nearly all biological structures. Of course, organisms don't just build molecules, they also need to break them down. This process is accomplished through hydrolysis reactions. Hydrolysis literally means splitting with water. During hydrolysis, a polymer is broken into its monomers by adding a water molecule. The water provides an H and an OH group that attach to the monomers as the bond breaks. This is what happens during digestion when your body breaks down starch into glucose, proteins into amino acids, or DNA into nucleotides. Hydrolysis is catabolic, meaning it breaks molecules apart, and it plays a critical role in providing cells with the raw materials they need for energy and biosynthesis. Now, let's take a closer look at monosaccharides, beginning with an important example: glucose. Monosaccharides are the simplest carbohydrates, and you should be able to recognize pentoses, which have 5 carbons, and hexoses, which have 6. In aqueous environments like the cytoplasm or blood, most monosaccharides form ring structures because this arrangement is more stable. Using glucose as an example, we can see how structure links directly to function. Glucose is highly soluble in water, which allows it to be transported easily through the bloodstream in animals or through the vascular tissues of plants. That solubility also makes glucose readily available as an immediate source of energy for cellular respiration. Glucose molecules are small and stable, and they can be transported into cells through specific membrane proteins. When oxidized during cellular respiration, glucose yields a substantial amount of ATP. This high energy output is a major reason glucose is a universal energy source. Other monosaccharides like ribose and deoxyribose play structural roles, forming the backbone of RNA and DNA, which further illustrates how varied monosaccharide functions can be. Let's continue with polysaccharides, which include starch, glycogen, and cellulose. Polysaccharides are formed when many glucose monomers join together through condensation reactions. In plants, energy is stored primarily as starch, which exists in 2 forms: amylose and amylopectin. Amylose forms long, unbranched chains that coil into compact helices, while amylopectin contains branched chains, allowing enzymes easier access to glucose units. Animals, on the other hand, store energy as glycogen. Glycogen is highly branched, much more so than amylopectin. This extensive branching allows glycogen to be broken down quickly during times of high energy demand, such as exercise or stress. Both starch and glycogen are compact and insoluble, meaning they store energy without affecting osmotic balance within cells. They can also be built up or broken down efficiently through condensation and hydrolysis reactions. Cellulose is another polysaccharide but has a very different function. It forms the structural framework of plant cell walls. Unlike starch and glycogen, cellulose is made of beta-glucose monomers, and each monomer is flipped relative to the one before it. This alternating pattern creates long, straight chains rather than coils. These chains align parallel to each other and form bundles called microfibrils, which are held together by hydrogen bonds. These microfibrils give cellulose its tremendous tensile strength, allowing plants to stand upright and resist mechanical stress. Humans cannot digest cellulose because we lack the enzymes that break beta-glucose bonds, although some animals like cows and termites rely on symbiotic microbes that can. Carbohydrates also play a crucial role in cell-cell recognition, largely through glycoproteins. Glycoproteins are proteins with carbohydrate chains attached, and those carbohydrate chains act like molecular ID badges. They help cells communicate, recognize each other, and respond appropriately to signaling molecules. A well-known example is the ABO blood group system. Blood type A, B, and AB individuals have enzymes called glycosyltransferases that attach specific carbohydrate structures to the surface of red blood cells. People with type O blood lack both of these enzymes, so their red blood cells have a simpler carbohydrate pattern. These carbohydrate differences are extremely important for compatibility during blood transfusions. Now let's focus on lipids, a broad category that includes fats, oils, waxes, phospholipids, and steroids. A defining characteristic of lipids is that they are hydrophobic. They dissolve in nonpolar solvents but not in water. Hydrophobicity occurs because lipid molecules cannot form hydrogen bonds with water, and water tends to exclude nonpolar substances, which leads lipids to clump together. This property makes lipids perfect for long-term energy storage, waterproofing, and forming biological membranes. Lipids such as triglycerides and phospholipids are formed through condensation reactions much like carbohydrates. A triglyceride is made when a glycerol molecule bonds with 3 fatty acids. If only 2 fatty acids bond to glycerol and the third position contains a phosphate group, the molecule becomes a phospholipid. Fatty acids can be classified based on the number of double bonds in their carbon chains. Saturated fatty acids have no double bonds, so the chains are straight, allowing them to pack tightly and form solid fats at room temperature. Monounsaturated fatty acids have 1 double bond, creating a slight bend in the chain and lowering the melting point. Polyunsaturated fatty acids have multiple double bonds and bend significantly, making them fluid at even lower temperatures. Because of these differences, plants typically store unsaturated fats as oil, which stay liquid in cooler environments. Endothermic animals often store more saturated fats, which provide stable, compact stores of energy under warm body temperatures. Trans fats, although not a natural focus of IB biology, are chemically unsaturated but behave more like saturated fats due to their straightened structure, illustrating how even small structural differences can dramatically affect physical properties. Triglycerides stored in adipose tissue serve 2 primary roles: energy storage and insulation. Triglycerides contain more energy per gram than carbohydrates because fatty acids have many more carbon-hydrogen bonds available for oxidation. Because triglycerides are hydrophobic, they can be stored without the extra water weight that comes with carbohydrate storage. In animals that live in cold environments, thick layers of adipose tissue also provide thermal insulation, helping maintain body temperature. Now let's return to phospholipids and their essential role in forming cell membranes. Phospholipids are amphipathic, meaning they have both hydrophilic and hydrophobic regions. The phosphate head is hydrophilic, while the fatty acid tails are hydrophobic. When phospholipids come into contact with water, they spontaneously arrange themselves with the hydrophobic tails facing inward and the hydrophilic heads facing outward, forming a bilayer. This creates the fundamental structure of all biological membranes. Phospholipid bilayers are fluid, meaning the molecules can move laterally. Saturated fatty acid tails make the membrane less fluid, while unsaturated tails increase fluidity. The amphipathic nature of phospholipids is what allows membranes to act as selective barriers, controlling the movement of substances in and out of the cell. Finally, let's explore steroids, another class of lipids. Steroids have a characteristic structure of 4 fused carbon rings. Examples include cholesterol, testosterone, and estradiol. Steroids are nonpolar, which allows them to pass directly through the phospholipid bilayer without the need for membrane transport proteins. Once inside the cell, steroid hormones bind to intracellular receptors and can directly influence gene expression. Because they can move so easily across membranes, steroids often act as long-distance signaling molecules that coordinate growth, development, and reproduction. As we wrap up this review, remember that the chemistry of carbon is the foundation for biological structure and function. Condensation and hydrolysis reactions build and break down macromolecules. Carbohydrates provide energy and structure. Lipids store energy, insulate the body, form membranes, and act as signaling molecules. And throughout all of these topics, structure determines function. Understanding these ideas will help you make connections across the entire IB biology course. Take time to revisit diagrams, practice identifying molecular structures, and make sure you can explain how each molecule's chemical properties contribute to its biological role. This understanding is key to success on your upcoming exam. Thanks for studying with me, and good luck as you continue preparing.